Harry, hey, congratulations for followers.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And is it gig? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, fantastic.
it's gig. It's gig. Yeah. So, Harry, hey, so I guess we have to ask that obligatory question. What initially drew you to this horror film, Followers?
Sure. I think the character more than anything else. I think Jonty is a very multi-layered, interesting character. It's always fun to play someone who's a bit of a terrible person as well. And so there's definitely that side. But then I also really love the kind of archetypal structure of the characters, where you had like all the different horror stereotypes brought into the new age through a social media lens. Um, and Marcus got me on board and kind of described it to me that way, and I found it really exciting.
I was gonna say the character you play is not entirely the most likable person.
No, no, no. The yeah, I think the interesting challenge was striking the balance of, obviously Jonty is just a dreadful, dreadful person, but also trying to make him not so completely despisable that you just lose interest by hating him so much. And yeah, I mean, the director Marcus talked a lot about that and trying to strike the balance between being terrible but not wholly despicable.
I mean, I guess in its own way, it characterizes these social media influencers.
Mhm.
How they act, how they behave, how all they strive for is just likes and followers. Obviously, just by talking to you briefly, you're nothing like that.
I hope not. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of social media personally. I think it's quite destructive. I think there's a place for it in terms of connecting people and raising awareness on things. And, I think there are some positives, but all in all, for me, I find it a really difficult thing to manage. I don't use TikTok. I don't use Facebook anymore. I don't really even use Instagram apart from talking to friends. I think there's such a dangerous precedent set by even like the owner of TikTok recently said he doesn't let his kids have the app. I think that says everything. At a young age, even at an older age, we're not ready for all this kind of stimulation, and it's so addictive, and it's like this cycle of you're desperate for likes and follows and gaining approval from people you've never met. And I think when you get that such a level of, when it goes to thousands or even millions of people, it's just far too much input. You can't be expected to cater to millions of different opinions. It's not feasible. And I think that's a pitfall that Jonty really falls into throughout the movie, is all he's craving is this approval from anyone, because he doesn't have it in his own life from his dad or any friends, really.
So, how do you get into a character that is completely not like you at all?
So when I was like prepping for this role, I was studying a few different YouTube influencers, who I won't name, but I was studying some of them and some of their mannerisms. But then at the same time, Marcus and I worked on, each had a notebook, and we went through each of Jonty's vlogs and stages and how bad he was at vlogging at this point, and his kind of mood and arrogance. And so in the start of the film, he's a terrible vlogger, and he's trying to make these vlogs, and they're extremely cheesy, and he's all over the place with them. And as the movie kind of progresses, he gets better at his craft, his arrogance kind of increases, but his proficiency in the vlogging gets better. So I was just trying to match some of the early vlogs, some of these influencers that I'd been studying, some of them which are just god awful, comparing them with later, where they kind of seem to have the knack down, and they're not stumbling over words as much, and they're not. I think there's a level of authenticity that they managed to create, whether for better or for worse, which I tried to bring to Jonty later, but not have in the earlier scenes. So there's just little bits like that you kind of, I guess, study and prep with.
Now, of course, this is a found footage type of film. As a social media influencer in the film yourself, you have to handle cameras. But
Sure.
are you filming anything, or just pretending to film stuff on this production?
So my character is usually in front of the camera because he's seeking fame constantly. So I did a bit of filming. I'd say about maybe 5% of the film I filmed, like maximum. Larice, who played Zorna, I'd say is responsible for a good 35% of the footage. Dan as well played Pete a fair bit, and Erin Zero played Amber because she's always in front of the camera. DOP Al, he was fantastic. Alan was brilliant, and he had 15 different cameras over the space of the movie. Like usually you'll shoot a movie on an Alexa or a Red, but he wanted it to seem as authentic as possible. So we had GoPros, Sony, Panasonic zooms, we had Canons, we had night vision cameras, like all of this massive array. And he really wanted it to feel authentic. So he taught Larice how to use each of these cameras individually. And you notice we wanted this well because a lot of it was shot chronologically, how it goes from very poor camera work, shaky all over the place, to as the funding increases, the focus becomes better, the quality overall becomes better. And I think as that continued, Al started to take more of a lead in the camera work as well. So it felt more professional and more, high grade. So yeah, it was a lot of the actors I do in the filming, which was really interesting.
I was going to say that's usually very unusual that they would even have actors film.
It is, yeah, it's very different. It's really different, but it just added a fun challenge, and it felt more authentic. I think you can tell that it's the actors filming it. So it's very unusual, though. I completely agree.
Did you at least got you a cinematographer
No,
credit?
I didn't get one. I feel aggrieved about it. No, I didn't deserve one. Larice should get one. She really did so much filming work, and she studied so much on the cameras. But no, I don't deserve one.
So tell me about the house that is used for this haunted house.
Yes,
Did you guys really destroy it?
we lived in it.
Oh.
We didn't destroy it. No, they, when they smashed down the wall, that's a fake wall that was built with extra plaster. But we really lived in it. Each of those bedrooms that we had, those were our bedrooms. We slept in it during the shoot. We kept all of the cameras, apart from the industry grade cameras, in the house. And we filmed a bunch of footage in the evenings, just messing around. We'd stay in character. And there's so many little clips and snippets that are just us messing around in real life in the house. It was on a university lot, so it was university accommodation, and it really felt like a college experience for a few of us who hadn't actually been to college. So we didn't destroy it, but we really did live in it, and it felt very much like home. Whenever I was filming scenes in my bedroom, I knew where everything was, and it was all my clothing. Yeah, it was interesting.
I was going to say that the experience of, you literally define the experience of stay, work, and live all in one place. Like you had no commute whatsoever.
Yeah, we did the pandemic before the pandemic was the thing. It was interesting. It really was, though. It was almost like method acting in a way, because you just become so familiar with your surroundings, and you're having breakfast in your kitchen, which is then your actual kitchen. You're like hanging out in your living room, which is your actual living room, and you just become so familiar with your surroundings so quickly. It did. I think it helped with the character work for sure. Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you guys handle call times, or do you guys actually have like a full schedule? Is that
Roll out of bed, get on camera.
right?
No, yeah. So we because we only shot the film in 2 weeks. It was a really, really quick shooting schedule. Call times were always like 6 a.m. latest. So we'd get out of bed, shower, and then just roll downstairs, and the makeup artists were coming, and we'd be like, "Hey, all right, let's go, let's get started." It was fun. It was fun, and a few of the crew stayed in the house as well, so they commute times and stuff like that too.
All this dedication for art. That's terrific.
Exactly, and that's what you do with low budget too. You save money in any way you can, and you make sure that it feels as authentic and artistic as possible.
So, tell me about the chemistry with the other cast members of this. It's a small cast, so
Yeah.
live, work, and play at the same place. I'm pretty sure the chemistry had to develop pretty fast, or you guys hate each other.
Oh no, we loved each other. Yeah, the chemistry. It was. I've worked on sets where you go back to the same hotel together, and you get pretty close that way. But living together was a different animal. Like you have very little privacy from each other, so it is one of those things that could be like hate or love immediately. But Erin, Dan, and Larice are like very close friends of mine. I mean, Dan's in Scotland, so it's tougher to see him. But Larice, I see all the time. We're texting right before this interview and chatting. She's one of my really, really close mates, and same with Erin. And I love Dan, but I don't get to see him all that much anymore, unfortunately. But in the house, we'd party at night. We'd head out together. We'd like one day off as in the middle of shooting, and we had 2 days where we were rehearsing, and we all went out into London, did different games. We got unbelievably close. I used to have bedtime chats with Larice every night. We'd just like sit like in her bedroom chatting until 1 a.m. and I was like, right, I need to get some sleep because we're on set in 5 hours. So yeah, no, we became really, really like a family very quickly.
Yeah. And for yourself, do you enjoy the horror genre, or you just enjoy the idea of indie filmmaking when it comes to a project like this?
I love indie filmmaking. I love indie films much more than bigger sets. Like you just have so much more creative license, and it's just more of a collaborative project. There's no ego or anything. There's no real hierarchy. There's just a group of people coming together to make a film that they believe in. So I love it. I really enjoy horror as well. I've done a couple of horrors, and what's really fun is you get to see SFX and VFX stuff that you wouldn't see in other projects, and from an actual filmmaking side, it's really interesting, and it's a completely different genre. And how do you build that level of suspense, and how do you effectively do something that hasn't been done? Because horror is a very overdone genre. I feel like so often you have your jump scares and you have your gore, and it's how you find something that's a psychological element different to that to actually make it stand out. I think what Followers had is, first of all, it's a comedy horror. The comedy is a real powerful part of it until leading up to the end, and that big switch I find very interesting. And secondly, I think the psychological and new age media element to Followers is quite intriguing, because I've seen like social media stuff with horrors now, but when we were shooting it, I hadn't seen anything about it. This was about 5 years ago. I'd seen 1 or 2 horrors kind of delving into the new age social media stuff. And this was kind of more like, instead of it actually being about a ghost or a paranormal activity, it was much more about ego and success and fans and how far were you. It was much more of a human horror than a paranormal horror, to me, at least.
Well said. Well said. So what's up next for you after this, Harry?
So I just wrapped on a TV series that I'm not allowed to talk about just yet. But that should be announced in hopefully the next week or two. And then I'm shooting a film in a month called I'm Not You, which I'm really excited for. And then I'm shooting a war film in November called The Last Siege, which I'm really excited about as well.
Those are entirely very different projects.
Such different projects. That's why I love indie filmmaking. So I'm Not You and The Last Siege are both relative indies, and they've got beautiful, incredible scripts. And the TV series I just shot is a bigger project, but it's again a really, really interesting project. So yeah, I just like trying different stuff, like anything that I can try that's different and interesting.
Well, before I leave, one notable thing. I think I remember you from a dance movie. I think that's when I actually met you on a red carpet
Oh my gosh. Were you in LA or were you in New York?
in Los Angeles.
We're in Los Angeles. Oh my god.
Like high strung.
Yeah, that's the one. That that night was a blur, I tell you. That was a crazy night. Wow. Man, well, it's good to see you again. I didn't realize. I'm so sorry.
No. I was trying to remember. I was like going, okay, your recognizable face. Where did I meet you from? And then I looked it up. I was going, oh, okay. I remember that red carpet.
No
It was
way.
just a crazy night. It was like bonkers. Everyone was like
Oh.
everywhere.
Did you come to the after party after it?
No, I didn't do the
Oh.
party.
Are you based in LA?
Yes, I'm here in
Oh,
LA.
nice. Whereabouts are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Sherman Oaks.
Oh, cool. Cool. I'm not too far. I'm East Hollywood.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, so I'm not too far from you.
Yeah, that was I do have to admit that was a fun night and that was a fun movie, but that movie is way different from Followers. I have
So different, so different. I don't think I've ever done two projects that are similar. Like I was looking recently at like some of the work I've done. I was like, I seem to just do like completely different things every single time. It's really weird. Yeah.
I guess that's what you like, right?
I mean, it's exactly what I want. Yeah, but usually you'll see, at least like two rom-coms or two like similar horrors or like I don't seem to have done that. It's strange. Yeah, I enjoy that.
Well, it's most excellent. Well, hey, it's a pleasure meeting you again. Hey, thank you for speaking to us about Followers.
No, thank you for having me on. It's really nice to see you again, Gig, and thank you for this.
Hey, hopefully we get to do this again, Harry. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Maybe when the next couple of films come out, I'll reach out to you and we'll do something.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye bye.